Hello, everybody. It is me, Snack, and now we're finally gonna do it, baby. We're gonna do a franchise mode. Now, the team we are playing as is the Houston Cosmos. Now, this is a new team I just made. They play at the Johnson Space Hockey Center in Houston, Texas, and they are ready to join the National Hockey League. Now, obviously, this is my first ever GM mode, so I gotta lay down the law, make some rules. We're going to look at here, so owner mode will be off. There's really no merit to having it on, unless you're planning on relocating, which I am not. Player morale off. Honestly, it kind of just limits what you can do with your team, and if I'm going to be good enough with handling my assets, I want to be able to make the best team I can, and that does not allow me to do that. So I'm turning that off for now. Edit lines, obviously off. I want to be in control of my lines. As far as Fog of War goes, I think we are going off. I just kind of think it's a broken game mechanic, to an extent anyways. It's one thing to not have a direct idea of what a player is. It's another to not even be within range. So I think that we'll do better having that off and just going with the base game. So this is what it's going to look like. I'm actually going to add an extra contract here too, just so all the players coming out of the draft aren't, short-staffed a year. That is what usually happens. And let's get it started. So we will look at the rules and settings as well. Of course, we're not going to be on rookie mode, which it is right now. I'm actually not sure why it is, but yeah, we're going to do 10-minute periods, so when we go in to look at the sim, it won't be too fast. It's superstar difficulty. Draft pick ownership is authentic, as to provide the best experience. Trade difficulty, going to be hard. Obviously, the other difficulties are just far too easy for anyone that's actually played these games, so we're going to have to do that. And the rest of this stuff, it seems like it is fine as is. Auto scouting, I leave on for the most part. So yeah, I think this is about it. And, oh, injuries off, actually. I do not want to get stuck with injuries on. It can be absolutely frustrating as all hell. So, yep. Just making sure in advanced settings we do not have anything. Sim engine scoring, I'm going to turn up to high. I think that it definitely adds more excitement to the gameplay, and I like it like that. So, there you go. As far as anything else goes, we'll probably just leave all this stuff as is. I haven't played too many franchise modes in NHL, but it seems to be the best way to do things. Alright, so the Houston Cosmos ready to join the NHL. As you can see, the Yukon Snowbirds, I believe, are our AHL team, and we are ready to go. So, let us start our career, keep salary cap on, of course, and let's get in to the team, baby. Alright, so we're finally in here into franchise mode. NHL expansion draft. Well, I figured I'd take a moment to welcome you to the Houston Cosmos franchise. You have your plate full with upcoming expansion draft, but I'll touch base again in a few days before the draft itself after I get a sense of who the other teams are going to make available. Awesome, so now we will head into the expansion draft here. Looking at the draft lottery, we do drop one spot. Unfortunately, not going to be picking high, but hey, I honestly prefer it this way, just in case there's a franchise or something. I don't want to get an OP player too early on, As far as the direction of the team, I think we're kind of going, we'll test the waters in the first maybe 20, 30 games of the season. If we're doing well, we could maybe hold on to some assets and try to make a push. But if not, we're going to obviously try to sell off part of our team and get maximum return if possible. It looks like Andreas Cass is probably our best pick here. He's young, and he's got a good contract next 3 years at 2.6. If we can grow into a league even 83, I'd say that's more than worth it. So we're going to go ahead and pick him up from Anaheim. As far as Arizona goes, Antti Rantis seems to be the guy. He's got a decent contract, 3 years at 4.25, and the 85 overall. He could be an asset at the trade deadline should we not be doing so well. And even then, he's just got such a good overall that it's hard not to take him in this scenario. Moving on to the Bruins, seemingly a no-brainer. Brandon Carlo, just an amazing pickup here. 81 overall, 3 years at 2.85. and a top 4 medium potential. You cannot say no to that as us. So let's go pick him up. In Buffalo, the pickings are a little more slim, but I think Jake McCabe will be our guy here. He's 25 years old. He has top 4 medium potential. He's got a decent contract, 3 years at 2.85. Again, just another solid pickup. There's nothing really too special here, so I figure he's our best bet as far as that goes. In Calgary, I feel like it's hard to say no to Giordano, but I feel like it's also hard to say no to Rasmus Andersson. You got a young guy on, it's a fairly big contract, but still, I mean, I figure it's quite worth it. That said, Giordano could be a good trade asset, but I do not know how high his value is based on the trading system in NHL. I know once players hit a certain age, they kind of just capsize as far as value goes, so I think the safe bet will be Rasmus Andersson here. Although he's not an elite player, he's definitely got the potential to be one, and at least an 80-45 for the next few years. I think that's kind of what we're aiming for, so we're going to go with him. In Carolina, our pick seems almost easy. You got Jake Gardiner there. Obviously, he's a good defender, but we're going to have lots of that kind of defenseman. Around 81 to 83. They're very, very easy to come by in this draft. So I think we go long-term here and pick Hayden Fleury. He's got 2 years left at 8.5, or 0.85 rather. And then he's got the low elite potential. It's kind of hard to say no to that, so we're going with him. In Chicago, it would seem Eric Gustafsson is the best player to go with. That being said, Robin Lehner, I mean, an 87 overall goalie through the expansion draft is basically a gift. So we're going to go with him, and we'll now move on to Colorado. Colorado's got some interesting players. You have Donskoy there, who's their best player, but certainly that contract's not looking too good. Ryan Graves down here actually not looking too bad, 24 years of age. Big guy, 6'5", 227 pounds. The high top 6 is kind of attractive. They do have Zadorov down here and Nichushkin, which I think Nichushkin might be the best option here. Obviously nothing in goal, so yeah, I think Nichushkin definitely going to be our pick here. He's 24 years old, 79 overall, and he's got the medium top 6. He's one of the few high potential forwards you'll find in these drafts, so definitely going to take him with this pick. In Columbus is where you'll find, obviously, probably our first line right wing there, Gustav Nyquist. 84 overall. He's got a pretty hefty contract, but I feel like we can definitely take it because we'll be rebuilding in these first few years, and we can always offload it. It's certainly not so bad as we'll not be able to trade him. So we're going to pick him up with this one, and hopefully he can do some good things offensively for us. In Dallas, you have such a good player in Denis Gurianov right here. Nothing special, I imagine. It's just Khudobin, and we already have 2 goalies, so yeah, Gurianov seems like a no-brainer here. Big kid, 6'3", 200 pounds, and he's certainly going to be a force on our offense in the coming years. In Detroit, not a lot of great choices, but I feel like Brendan Perlini could definitely make a good addition to this offense. Medium top 6, 78 overall. I feel like picking him is just easy at this point when you just see this kind of a roster. I mean, they're so run down for players, and I mean, him and Bowie are the only 2 that you'd even really consider. So I think Perlini's going to be our guy. Edmonton, surprisingly not a hot spot for great players. They do have a couple decent prospects, like Caleb Jones. I know in net it's just going to be Mike Smith, so nothing too special there. I feel like Caleb Jones is probably our best bet. He's 2 years left with a 2-year extension. He's cheap, and he could be an affordable D-man in the years to come if we load off some of our veterans. In Florida, it's a bit tricky as you have Anton Stralman, who should be the obvious pick, but his contract definitely dissuades me from doing so. I do not want him until he's 36, knowing the NHL regression system. So I think we're going to go with Vetrano. He's got potential to grow a little bit, and his contract's pretty team-friendly, so I think we're just going to go with him there. In Los Angeles, Toffoli seems like the way to go, but his limited contract kind of makes me look down the list. And what do I see down here? I see a Tobias Bjornfot, definitely appealing player. High top 6, which isn't fantastic, mind you, but it's still very good. And at 75 and 18 years old, it seems like a no-brainer to pick this kid up and give him a shot. Then we head to Minnesota, where there's obviously Jared Spurgeon, who his contract isn't fantastic, certainly, especially the extension. It's kind of dissuading me from looking that way. Eric Stahl could be a good option and a good trade piece should we pick him up. And I think that's exactly what we're going to do. Obviously, there's not a lot of depth on this team, so we're going to go ahead and pick Stahl. And hopefully he can be a good first-line center with Nyquist on the wing. Now looking at the Habs, you got Arturi Lehkonen here, who I think would make a very good addition to the offense. He's young, he's got a little bit of potential at least, and really no one else down the list here. So it seems like he's definitely the option we're going to go with as far as the Habs go. Heading to Tennessee, you see Yarncroc, you see Bonino, you see Smith. I'm kind of looking at Yarncroc, honestly. He seems like he's a decent forward. He'll probably fit into the top 6. Even though he's only 82, we do not have a lot of ready-to-go players. So, honestly, Yarncroc seems like the best pick here. I do know they have Saros and Net, but with the 2 guys that we have currently, I don't really want him stuck behind them. So, we're going to go with Calle Yarncroc here. To New Jersey. You got a couple bad contracts there, Andy Green and Travis Zajac. But then you look down the list, you got Marco Mueller and Connor Carrick, 2 not so bad prospects. Although they probably won't grow to be much, I think we're definitely going to head with Marco Mueller. He's sizable, and if anything, we can just play him in the AHL, which won't be a problem. In Long Island, it would appear Broussard is a decent option. However, his contract expires in a couple of years, and he's really not that good. Where I do remember Thomas Greiss is here. He's got 2 years left, which isn't obviously great, but we could trade him definitely for an asset, and I think that's probably the most valuable thing we can get here, so we're going to pick him up. So I'm not exactly sure what the Rangers are doing here, but they've left us a lot of good players. You got Booch, D'Angelo, Hajek, and Howden all exposed, and I mean, this seems unfair. You also got Lindgren down here. It's just unbelievable. I have no idea what their AI is thinking. But as far as they go, I think Tony DeAngelo would be a great pickup. He's definitely going to be a rock on the defense. Well, Butch would be good on the left wing. I feel like we have some younger forwards that we can play up there already, as opposed to defense where we don't have a lot of NHL ready guys. DeAngelo could probably fit in on the top pair need be. So we're going to head his direction and pick him up. Now in Ottawa, it's more just about avoiding the bad contracts. And I think how we can do that is heading on over to goaltenders. And I know this isn't fancy, but you do have Anders Nilsson here, and I think by picking him up, we'd be getting a good AHL/NHL goalie. And if we were to trade one of Lehner or Ranta, we'd have a guy back there. So with this one, I think we're going with Anders Nilsson. In Philly, obviously you've got Niskanen's hefty contract at the top of this list. I don't think I'm going to go that way as far as the Flyers go, but they do have a guy, Samuel Morin. He's decent enough. He's a big kid, 77 overall at 23 and top 6, so he's got some room to grow. He can play in the AHL, so because of his versatility, I think we're going to go with him. On to the Pittsburgh Penguins now. I know we can definitely get something good here, and you might be thinking, why would you pick up Hornquist? Well, that's not exactly who I'm looking at. We do have Tristan Jarry in net, and while he might not fit in, he could definitely go as a backup should we want to trade Ranta or Lehner. Obviously, the goaltenders, they are definitely expendable, so if one's not playing well, we can ship him out. I think Jarry could fit in well as a backup, so if we were to move either Ranta or Lehner, probably Ranta before next season, Jarry could be the backup to start the year and possibly even transfer in to the starting role once the season goes on if we're not doing so hot. So yeah, I think Tristan Jarry is a good pick here, and we can get a lot of value out of him. The San Jose Sharks. Obviously, at first glance, Brent Burns is the easy target here. His contract is a little foreboding, but that said, we could get some trade value out of him, and for that reason, I think we're going to pick him here. St. Louis gives us a couple options here, but it seems obvious that Vince Dunn is the guy. Jake Allen too expensive as a backup, and we already have guys that can fill that role. Vince Dunn, he's young, he's got decent potential, and he's got a good friendly contract, so we're going to pick him up right now. Tampa Bay, another good defenseman with a little bit of a big contract, but I think it will be worth it in his case. Again, The trade value is there even if he doesn't have a utility on this team. And just based on that alone, I think he's the guy for us. Okay, so I don't think the game's actually allowing us to take McDonough. So we're going to pick Chiarelli for now. And we're probably just going to go back and change that. But we do have to do that for now just to comply with the rules. I think we might hop off a couple defensemen if we don't like them too much, just so we can add on some guys here like Jake Muzzin. I do like Kapanen, but I think Muzzin is the guy that we should pick up here on D. He definitely seems solid, and we could have a pretty nasty decor if we do choose him. That said, Kapanen could help our offense quite well. Him or Hyman too, because Hyman has a very good contract. I think we'll go with Kapanen for now, though. Again, I'm just trying to fill out these last spots just so we can get to changing up some of our answers. I think with Vancouver, Thatcher Demko is an obvious choice. He's got the medium elite potential. He could go in the AHL for maybe half the first year until we bring him up. So, yeah, it definitely looks like a good decision to jump on him here. Anytime you get a medium elite in the expansion draft, you take it. No questions asked, so we're going with him. So inadvertently, we've taken a lot of defensemen. I'm pretty sure we can get rid of Caleb Jones here, as he's not too fantastic. We'll just replace him with, I guess, Riley Sheahan or Thomas Yurko. It's kind of whatever. I guess Yurko would do okay, at the very least anyways. Mirko Mueller is going to be another guy that we get rid of here. He's nothing too special, and I could honestly go without him. So we'll pick up, I suppose, Ben Street, or unless there's another prospect. No, it does not seem like it. So we'll go with Ben Street. Again, nothing special, just we need a forward in there, so we will go with him. I actually think the inability to pick any more guys has turned me off of Brent Burns. I know his contract's big, and it's a little bit unrealistic that we'd be able to unload him once we got him. So I think just going with a forward, maybe Barclay Goodrow, obviously, with the trade deadline happening the other day, it seems as though he could fetch it first. So we're going to pick him just to fill a spot on forward again. I just think it's probably the right thing to do here because we have other defensemen that we're going to pick up. Now we head to Washington. I think Leipzig's probably our best choice here. You got a top 9 forward and high. Unless you got a better goalie, we do not. So, it's going to be Brandon Leipzig. In the peg, Adam Lowry seems to be a decent choice, and so does Andrew Kopp. He's definitely a good fourth-line center, I think, and he's got a little bit of potential to grow. So we're going to go with him there, and that should round out the draft. And we're not able to, for some reason, because, reasons. So now we're going back to Tampa Bay, and I'm just going to pick McDonough there. And then go to Winnipeg, and we can finally close out the draft by picking up Kopp, and that should do it. The only thing I'm maybe thinking about changing is Kapanen to Muzzin, though we do need the forward help, so I think Cappy will help out more in this scenario, and that's what we're going to go with. So, this is our team. You can see in the depth chart there, as I scroll through. We'll get a better look once we look at contracts. So, these are your Houston Cosmos. Let's finish the draft and possibly head in to the next draft. This is actually probably the year the draft interviews are most important, just because I have no idea what my scouting staff has done. So, definitely good to take a look at what's going on here. Vasily Podkolzin, I guess, has made his way into the draft, and so has Cole Caulfield. So that's actually pretty good that they've inserted themselves in there as I had planned. So we could get either of those guys, but also obviously you got Isaiah Steves here and Aiden McLeod. So it's honestly a toss-up for me at this point. I think we could go either way. We do have to note, though, that they are creative players, and I know it's a bit cheap to say that, but they do have just naturally better shooting, I believe. And also, Cole Caulfield, just a good pick in general. So, we will head into the draft and see what we can do. Heading to the entry draft, we could make a trade should there be an opening high in the draft. It does not look like there is. So, we will sit at pick 4. We're kind of just going to have to wait and see what happens. Our trades will likely happen into free agency. And there goes Semin, number 1. Quite a good player, actually. Gustav Semin have to take a look at him midway through into maybe next season, because he'll definitely be on the Oilers. I wonder if he'll fight for a top line spot, just because they don't have too many wingers on Edmonton, and his shot is just booming. So great pick by them. Colorado drafts Podkolzin, number 2. He's a medium elite, 80 overall. I did kind of want to insert him as, you know, a closer to NHL ready player. Obviously, he plays in the KHL right now, but he's likely to come over whenever he can. So I think that's a great pickup for them. Obviously, putting him on a line with, say, a guy like McKinnon or Rantanen, that is going to be absolutely filthy. And there goes Los Angeles drafting McLeod. So that leaves us with an elite, and then we also have Cole Caulfield. Now, I do believe Caulfield will be more ready. Maybe, actually. It looks as though this other guy is pretty far ready too. His defense is certainly much better. I like the Caulfield though. I like the build. Obviously, they're both shorter guys. But I do like Caulfield's offense a bit more. At least I can imagine. If he's a two-way forward, as a center, we don't really have too many of those. It's actually kind of a tough choice here. So I don't really want to be biased and take the guy that is, you know, obviously going to be a better scorer. And I actually think Steves has a good chance of turning out well, and we do need a center. Eric Stahl's really our only number 1 guy, or even a guy that's in between 3 and 1 as far as lines go. So I think Isaiah Steves will be a good pick here. He's got a good 200-foot game, and they compared him to Patrick Kane, so obviously he's got to be pretty damn good. We are going to pick him up here. Welcome, Isaiah Steves of Norway, 79 overall. Obviously looking pretty good. Let's see what we missed out on. Caulfield. Oh, and New Jersey skips on him as well. They picked P. Tavares. Who is this man? Philip Tavares, left wing, 5'10", 171 pounds. This kid is small, and he's very average. Very average indeed. Obviously, Steves is nothing too special anyways, but I feel like we could fit him into maybe the third-line center position, so looking good on that front. But Tavares, wow, I'm actually very surprised that they went ahead and skipped Caulfield. There he is. Same overall, better potential. So obviously he's looking very good. His offensive stats are high, but the defense is definitely something to be worked on. You don't really trust him on any of those depth lines, so I don't know why his acceleration is 66, but hey, errors sometimes, all right? So let's just sim to the next pick. Obviously there's not a lot we can do in this draft, and not a lot that I want to do in this draft just because there's no guarantees here. We're going to go ahead and pick Josh Reed, I think. We picked a forward with the first one, so he's got a medium elite, obviously only 1 bar, but it's something to go off of, and I think we're going to head his way. Josh Reed, welcome to the team. Low top 6D, obviously not likely to make the team at this point, so unfortunate, but again, not a lot you can do here in this early draft. Now we head into the 3rd round, and Nando Eggenberger, look in there. Obviously we know he's not too good, or else he would not be real. I don't think that's how that works, but that's okay. Alright, so I might just go ahead and pick a guy like Eggenberger, or we could go... I thought I saw somebody. Let's go with Boris Radulov. At least he has a chance of being something different. 70, so again, nothing too special, just kind of wasting out the draft here. Go to the 4th round. Noel Hoffenmeyer, hello. Alexander McGillney, definitely picking you from Ukraine. Interesting. Ooh, well, his overall is not there, but that potential is very, very nice. Alexander McGillney, that is hilarious. Welcome to the team, buddy. All right, heading into the 5th round now. Not a lot to look at and be like, ooh. Let's go with Isaiah Raycroft. What a crazy name. Big defenseman. And 7th D. So not the worst thing in the world, but obviously not probably going to make the NHL squad. Heading into the 6th round now. You got Kozlov here. Ivan Kozlov. And I think he's pretty much the no-brainer here. Oh, that is atrocious overall-wise. But again, what can you do? Really nothing. 7th round now. We'll basically just look to close out the draft here. And oh my god, Nelson Creamer, you are on the team. Non-negotiable. He is 49 overall, bottom 6. That is fine. Nelson Creamer, the next one. He's coming, and you better look out. So get rid of the entire draft here, and we can look at what we did. Isaiah Steve's obviously the biggest pull, but McGillney looking good. I'm definitely excited about getting him, and hopefully we can grow him into an NHL player if possible. Obviously going to be a challenge with that overall, but never say never, all right? He's got the name. He's got the potential. I'm sure we can make him into an NHL player. Now, though, we look at the contract situation, and obviously not a lot of top-heavy talent here, as you can see. We got Eric Stahl on the front end, basically leading the team. I'd say he's probably going to be our first captain if we end up keeping him through a season. Not too likely that happens, though, because his trade value will go down after this year. You also have to look at Nyquist, though. He's another good player. He's got a few years left on this deal, though, so obviously we got to keep in mind that we don't want to hold on to him too long if we're not finding success early on. Yarncroc, Kapanen, Koss, and Lehkonen. So that's looking to be our top 6. I feel like Vetrano's more of a third-line guy anyways. But yeah, we'll probably try to work this around into a top 6. Someone's got to play center, but in any case, that's what it is right now. Then we go to Vetrano, Kopp, and Goodrow. Probably looking like the third line. Kopp, more of a fourth line guy, because I think we're going to sign our boy Steves here to a contract. We get a lot of kind of 79-ish guys, so maybe it wasn't the best idea to offer him a contract, but I feel like he could benefit from some third line NHL experience should we be not too good, which I imagine we will not be. McGillney, obviously we're not going to touch the rest of these guys. Just kind of want to show you guys what we have right now on defense. You got McDonough, D'Angelo, Dunn, Anderson, Carlo, and McCabe as the top 6 guys. I think I'll probably move a guy like McCabe out to put Fleury into the lineup for the first year here. Nothing on McCabe. It's just his value is probably just going to go down from here. And we want to make room for some younger guys. Fleury obviously got the potential, so I think we're going to go with him in the lineup for next season. And then you got these guys down here. Obviously nothing too special. We'll have to sign some AHL players to fill the roster down in the A. Goaltending might be our best position here. We got Lehner, Ranta, Greiss, Yari, Demko, and Nilsson. So a couple of these guys will be offloaded this offseason. I imagine that'll be Ranta and Greiss being shipped out. So then we will roll with Lehner and Yari in the net. If we find success, that tandem could stick. Or if not, it's likely that Lehner is shipped out at the deadline. Obviously, he's an expiring UFA, so we do not want to hold on to him if he won't want to resign. And then you have Demko, he can be brought up and put into that backup position and hopefully one day take over the crease if he grows enough, which fingers crossed. So that is the Houston lineup thus far. I think that's where we're going to end off this first video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I had fun with this. So remember to leave a like. And if you haven't already, I'd appreciate a subscribe. You can go check out my Twitch as well in the description at twitch.tv/snackplays. This is Snack, signing off. I will see you guys later. Peace out.